Last Tuesday, we have completed Block 3, Unit 1 that discussed about Dalit Sahitya or Dalit literature. In the last class, we have come to know what is Dalit literature. And there we have learned that Dalit literature is a literature that speaks about the sufferings, exploitations, feelings, and dreams of the Dalit or downtrodden, the people who belong to the lowest class of the society. That is Dalit literature. Now we will read two poems from Dalit literature, one by F.M. Sinde. The name of his poem is Habit. The next poem is N.T. Rajkumar's poem. It has no title, therefore it is called Untitled Poem. So let us start with the text. First, come to page number 21. Come to page number 21. The name of the poem is Habit. Page number 21. Block 3, Unit 2, page number 21. The name of the poem is Habit. Before going to the text, actually, you have to write in the examination summary and critical appreciation of the poem. And the next item that you have to attempt is write an explanation from some texts. So before starting the text, I must tell you what you should do for writing critical appreciation and what you should do for writing an explanation. Already in your assignment, you have got an item. In the very first item, question number 1 was a explanation from some poems. So when you will write an explanation on a poem, it will have 3 parts. Your answer will have 3 parts. First part is introduction. Please write down also, otherwise you will forget it. When you will write an explanation on a particular extract, it will be divided into at least 3 paragraphs. First paragraph is an introduction. It will contain 3 to 4 lines, not more than that. It will contain the name of the writer, the name of the poem from which it is extracted, and also the gist of the thing which the poet is trying to say within those quoted lines. Suppose you have been asked to write an explanation on this poem, Habit. Once you are used to it, you never afterwards feel anything, etc. Your blood never more congeals, not flows, etc. So your first paragraph will contain that this poem is an extract from F.M. Sinde's Habit. F.M. Sinde wrote about the sufferings of the Dalits, and in these 4 or 5 lines, he said such and such. So the first paragraph will be complete here of your explanation. Next point, second paragraph. Second paragraph is the main explanation, which will be bigger in size. It will at least be 10 to 15 lines. So the next paragraph of your explanation will explain.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. The next paragraph, which is the main body of explanation, will explain in detail. In the first paragraph, we have given just the gist within 1 or 2 lines, not more than that. In the next paragraph, middle paragraph, you will have to explain in details that what the poet is trying to say and what he wants to mean, what are the surrounding atmosphere in which he is saying all these things. Last paragraph is the conclusion. It is the third paragraph of your explanation. It will contain the conclusion. In the conclusion, you will conclude your appeal, you will conclude your ideas, and also put a line about your own thinking. What is your own idea? You will put it in the last paragraph, in the conclusion. That I think what F.M. Sinde said is right, or I think this is not right, it should be so and so, etc., etc. And then the main body of your explanation is complete. But if there is any difficult word which seems to be unknown, then you will give the word note at the end. For example, in this poem, there is a word congeal, Congeal, congeal. Other words are quite okay. So you write down, please, the word note, the meaning of this word. In English, definitely, in your own words, whatever it may be. This will
Good morning,
score
ma'am.
you, good morning. This will score you highest number. Out of 10, you may get 8. In literature, you know that we can't get more than 60 or 70%. In grammatical, where there is a single question, one point, in there you can get it. But in essay type questions, uh, scoring is a bit difficult. Therefore, make all your attempts so that you can have better scores. Now come to the text. 2.3 FM Sinde Habit. FM Sinde is a very prominent Marathi poet. So what you are getting about Sinde, that he was a Marathi poet. With 24 collections of poems, his first book Julus was proclamation. Proclamation means announcement. Was a proclamation of the birth of a writer who empathized with the agony of the underprivileged. Empathize means to feel one with, to feel sympathetic with someone else. That is called empathize. To feel sympathy as a person, to feel sympathy as if I myself is the same person who is suffering from some problem. It was a proclamation of the birth of a writer who empathized with the agony. Agony means pain, P-A-I-N, of the underprivileged. Underprivileged means those who belong to the lowest class or those who are deprived from privileges or advantages. Privilege means advantage. Underprivileged means those who don't have the privileges or advantages of being rich, of having socially acceptable, of having a very intellectual background in the family. His other books include Fakira in Abhanga and I, Ani, etc., etc. These are not important for us. Now come to the text. He was a college teacher, FM Sindh in the last line. He taught Marathi in Devgari College in Aurangabad for several years. What is important is that FM Sindh was a Marathi writer and he wrote this poem in Marathi. And though, this is very important what I am going to say, though FM Sindh was not actually himself a Dalit, he was not a Dalit, he belonged to higher caste, but he felt sympathy for the Dalits, therefore his writing is included in Dalit literature. There is a division of opinion. According to some advocates of Dalit literature should be written always by a Dalit. Therefore, the Bengali writings of Sharat Chandra or Mahashweta Devi, who are also sympathetic to the Dalits, I don't know whether you have read the stories of Mahashweta Devi or not. She has vastly explored about the Dalits. If you can get opportunity, read their stories in Bengali. There are so many poems. Stanno Daini, there is a famous short story. Aranya Rudhikar, a novel. This is exclusively about the Dalits of Purulia district, about the suburbs. Now, there is an opinion among some of the advocates of Dalit literature that a literature which is exclusively written by a Dalit should be considered as a Dalit. Therefore, the writings of by Sharat Chandra or Mahashweta Devi is not considered as a part of Dalit literature. But F.M. Sindhe's poem has been given here as an example of a poem about the Dalits written by non-Dalits at the early period of Dalit writing movement. Is it clear? Now can we go to the text? Habit. Habit.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Once you are used to it, you never afterwards feel anything. Your blood never nor congeals, nor flows. Your wet mud has been slapped all over your bones. Once you are used to it, even the sorrow that visits you sometimes in dreams melts away, embarrassed. Habit is not used to breaking out in feelings. Translated from Marathi by such and such. So, the title of the poem is Habit. The poet is trying to tell something about the habit of some persons. Habit is something which makes you tolerant to some practice. Suppose you don't like the bad behavior of a person when you are going to post office or bank or somewhere in office. You see that there is an officer or a clerk or a person who used to talk with you in a bad way. You don't like it. Initially you felt revolting, and then gradually you become accustomed to it, and it become, you say that that is the person's habit. We are quite habituated. So habit is the things which makes us something somewhat tolerant to something which is otherwise not tolerable. Sinde through this poem is trying to raise that point, that for thousands of years we have mistreated, we have ill-treated the Dalits, the underdogs, the persons whom we have made untouchables. And they have also become habituated with them, therefore they are not revolting. So pointing to that, he says, once you are used to it, you means here he is trying to meaning the Dalits, the underdogs, the underprivileged, those who are deprived. Even women, in one sense, are Dalit, because still now there are some things where women are not considered to have equal rights. You know that there are some temples in South India when still now women of a particular age are not allowed to enter. In some religious places, in some other religion, this is a part of Hindu religion. In another religion also, women are not allowed to enter into a particular religious place. Women, only a few years back, were not entitled to have a share of the property of her father. Once he is married, she is unfit for having her share of the father's property. Recently, Supreme Court has made a change. So once you are habituated to some ill treatment, to some injustice, once you are used to it means habituated to it, accustomed to it, ACCUSTOMED. Once you are used to it, you never afterwards feel anything. If someone misbehaves with you, if someone mistreats you, if you become habituated, you don't feel anything for it. You think that it is normal. Your blood never more congeals. To congeal means to become solid. জমাট বেঁধে যাওয়া. To congeal, CONGEAL. Congeal is verb. To congeal means to solidify. To solidify, SOLIDIFY. To make, to solidify, verb. To make some comma. To make something solid. So when you have to write the meaning of the congeal, in the word note you will say, write congeal, then put a dash, to make something solid, or if you have forgot it, then solidify. Your blood never more congeals. When once you become habituated with some mistreatment, some ill treatment, some injustice, no more your blood becomes solid, no more you become angry with hatred, angry with a temptation of taking revenge. Your blood becomes solid, nor flows as if your blood has stopped to flow. You no longer feel that terrible strain when you become very angry, you become hot. That means your blood started to flow in a very speedy way. Why? For means because. For wet mud has been slapped all over your bones. Then the poet is comparing human body, the human beings, our existence, with that of a statue. What is a statue? Statue is nothing but a figure of a human being. When you are preparing the statue of a person, the figure of a human being which has no flesh and blood, which is covered with clay, which is covered with stone, or which is covered with plaster of Paris. So Not for weight, mud has been slapped. The moment you stop to feel anything, the moment your blood becomes congealed, the moment it stops to flow anything, that means you stop to become lively, as if you have turned into a statue. The wet mud, as if throughout the whole of your body is covered with mud. It has been slapped, as if somebody has slapped the wet mud of torture, suffering for a long time over your bones, and you have turned into a statue. You have stopped feeling anything. You have stopped revolting. Once you are used to it, even the sorrow that visits you sometimes in dreams melts away embarrassed. Once you are used to it, now I will tell you one reference. Last day I have told you about the story of a Dalit Hindi writing, the first Dalit Hindi novel. It was actually an autobiography. It was written by Om Prakash Valmiki. It was his own life story. And I have myself read it only 2 or 3 years back, in 1916, or 4 years back. There he has narrated that when he took his birth in 1957, perhaps. That means almost 10 years after we have got freedom. And after we have got freedom, the government of India announced this law that all the people of all the students, all the young children, whether he belonged to a higher caste or lower caste, will get the right of education, will be entitled to have education in primary schools. That was in the law. But unfortunately, law remains in the law book. It is not practiced in the schools, particularly in the far remote villages of India, to which Valmiki belonged. And when his father went to get him admitted into the school, he was denied admission, saying that he is a chamhar. Their traditional business is to carry the dead cattle, is to deskin, is to remove the skin of the dead animals. They are chamar. So they are not entitled to get education. Then his father went to the panchayat and others and repeatedly implored that please allow my son to get into the school. And ultimately, Valmiki got admission in the school. He got admission, that is true. But he was not allowed to sit with other students. He was allowed to sit just at the end of the school, of the classroom, from where he could not see the blackboard and he could not listen to him. Not only that, torture started to take place. One day his headmaster asked him when the class was going. He said, Om Prakash, what is your name? He said, Om Prakash. Om Prakash. But he laughed at it. Okay, you are a chamar? He says, yes. Oh, what is the necessity of your reading in the school? It is your business. It is a trade of your caste that you will sweep the floors of the schools and other things. Go to there in the ground. There are so many trees. Pick up some branch of the trees and sweep the classrooms. And Om Prakash started to sweep the classrooms. When his classmates are reading in the class, he completed all the rooms and the barangas, and then headmaster says, go to the playground. And he started to. The whole of the day passed. Next day, he went to the school with the expectation that today I will be able to get chance in the class. No. Next day, headmaster called him and asked him to do the same thing. On the third day, and he says that the sweeping instrument, the jhadu is not properly a jhadu, but it is some branches of the tree. They have lost all the leaves from this because it has got dried up. And my condition was like them also. Because throughout the day I swept it and my body is fully covered with dust. All of a sudden his father was passing through the road by the side of the school, and he saw his son is sweeping there. He immediately asked his son. He used to call his son as Munsiji. He was very liked by his father. He was the last son. He said, Musiji, what are you doing there? And Om Prakash started to cry. He cannot tell anything. Then after much coaxing, his father came to know that he is compelled to sweep for 3 successive days. Immediately his father revolted. Immediately. He said, I never thought that my father can take so many words in this way in the face of the teacher. And said that I will see you, what you can do. And the headmaster also rebuked his father and him and thrown them away from the school. But his father took the decision that he will get his son entered into the school, and otherwise he will not take food. 3 or 4 days he did not take food and started to move here and there and everywhere. Ultimately, he got his son entered into the school and got education. Now Balmiki says, if my father had not revolted on that day, perhaps my life would have not been changed. I would have spent my life as an illiterate person. So there is a necessity of revolt also. Once you come to the text, please. Once you are used to it, even the sorrow that visits you sometimes in dreams melts away past. If you don't, if you are used to it, if you are used to get the injustice, malpractices, mistreatment, then you will lose the power to revolt. Even the sufferings and sorrow that visits it in your dreams, that the sufferings which you actually suffer from and which comes also in your dreams, they will also melt away. They will also go away and will not enable you to be revolting, to seek justice for you and make you embarrassed. Habit is not used to breaking out in feelings. Therefore, habit is something which is not used to breaking out your revolt, your feelings, your sensation, your expression. Therefore, habit is not a good thing here. Don't get habituated with injustice. That is the motto of the poem. Okay, clear? Is it clear?
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
First, write down the substance of the poem. Write down one question. Write down the summary and the critical appreciation of the poem. Write down the summary and the critical appreciation of the poem. Summary and the critical appreciation. If you can do it and send it to me by email. Now I will tell you a few words about how you will write critical appreciation. You have learned how you will write explanation. Now try to learn how you will write critical appreciation. Summary means the story of the poem. What the poet is trying to say. What we have so long discussed. That is the summary. You will get it. Next paragraph is on critical appreciation. That means you have to critically analyze the poem, that how the poet is talking, what sort of words he is using, what sort of images are he is using, what he wants to tell, how the words used in the poem are affecting on your mind, and what is the feeling coming in your mind as a reading of the poems. All these things, and the meter and the rhythm, all these things, or whether there is any capital letter, whether the punctuation is used here or not. As you have read in the last poem, there is no punctuation, no capital letter, etc. etc. So first, when you will write about the critical appreciation of the poem, we will say the poet has successfully or properly given the word habit as the title of the poem. Because here through the poem he is trying to say that unless and until we revolt against some things which are thrown upon us, thrown upon the people belonging to the lower class, if we make it a habit to tolerate them, how it will affect us. And then he is saying through an imagery that how people will get used to it and will never be able to
Uh,
revolt.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes,
I'm Shubhanita's guardian. I'm
Subhanita
noticed
Gat.
that, yeah, Shubhanita Ghosh, I'm her husband.
Yes,
Actually, I'm noticed some illegal something is going on in the screen.
it's illegal going on the screen.
Yeah. Some screenshots is coming on and something, some rough languages are going on the screen. So Is RC Central RC is noticed this?
I think Central RC is absent perhaps. Otherwise, he is very much careful about it. Okay, and I'm noticing is or someone horse choice he wrote something.
Yeah, yeah,
First,
yeah, yeah.
first,
List of
ম্যাডাম
Architecture.
ম্যাডাম কি হয়েছে ম্যাডাম
List of
প্রবলেম?
Architecture.
অসীম অচ্যুত
Hello,
হ্যাঁ
ma'am.
আমি আছি।
আসলে একটু দেখো তো কেউ একজন, আমি তো স্ক্রিনটা ক্লোজ করে পড়াচ্ছি, কিন্তু কেউ একজন কিছু খারাপ কথা লিখছে এর মধ্যে, তুমি একটু নোট করে নাও তো, দরকার হলে আমরা ওকে কলকাতায় ওর নামে কমপ্লেন পাঠাবো, ওকে যেন ক্লাসে ঢুকতে দেওয়া না হয়। এত এত বড় দুঃসাহস! আমি ক্লাস তৈরি করার সময় লিখে দিয়েছি যে এটা পার্টিকুলারলি শুধুমাত্র বিজিসি 132। হ্যাঁ, একদম তুমি নামটা নোট করে নাও, আমি জানি না।
ম্যাডাম জাস্ট মিনিট আমি একটুখানি ইয়ে করছি, আমি কম্পিউটারে দেখছি, আমি একটুখানি হোল্ড করুন।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, এই তো লেখা আছে হর্ষ ছেত্রী, আর কিন্তু এই নামটা তো আমার কাছে নেই, এই নামের কোনো নাম তো আমার কাছে আসেনি, হর্ষ ছেত্রী নামের কোনো স্টুডেন্ট আমার নেই।
জাস্ট মিনিট ম্যাডাম, আমি একটুখানি দেখে নিচ্ছি কি চ্যাট বক্সে কিছু দেওয়া আছে।
হ্যাঁ, একটা চ্যাট বক্সে দেখা গেল, এই যে এখন দেখো একজন হর্ষ ছেত্রী বলছে আসানসোল সেক্স সার্ভিস অ্যাভেলেবল। এই অসভ্য ছেলেপিলে এরা কি জন্য ঢোকে এর মধ্যে। আরেকজন আছে, আরেকজন
আমি দেখে নিচ্ছি।
Ma'am, since he is not a student, he got some ID from somewhere.
How he got? He might have got it from some of my students, isn't it?
Maybe, ma'am.
Because I have sent it only to the group.
হর্ষ ছেত্রী ম্যাডাম, এই নামে তো ইয়ে কাউকে পাচ্ছি না, মানে স্টুডেন্ট কাউকে পাচ্ছি না, হয়তো
এই নামে কোনো student নেই।
ওকে এনিহাউ,
এই নামে কোনো student নেই। আচ্ছা, এটা কি করা যায়? হ্যালো
হ্যাঁ ম্যাডাম জাস্ট
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে।
অ্যাকচুয়ালি প্রবলেমটা হচ্ছে ম্যাডাম, যেহেতু এটা পাঠাচ্ছে আমাদের আরসি থেকে এগুলোকে পাঠাচ্ছে,
তাহলে আমরা আরসিতে কমপ্লিট করতে পারি না?
আরসি থেকে লিঙ্কগুলো পাঠাচ্ছি এবং এরা যে করে হোক লিঙ্ক কোনোরকম ভাবে পেয়ে যাচ্ছে তাদের ফ্রেন্ড সার্কেল থেকে বা এনি হোক, বা হয়তো আরসি থেকে লিঙ্ক পেয়েছে। হ্যাঁ, এখন এই নামে আমি নিজেকে এখন অ্যাটেন্ডেন্স এই নামে কাউকে পাচ্ছি না, ন্যাচারালি সে থাকবে না এইসব কাজ করতে। হ্যাঁ, এই নামে পাচ্ছি না।
কিন্তু এটা তো নাহলে ভালো তারা তো
না, ন্যাচারালি এরকম ভাবে যদি ডিস্টার্ব করে তাহলে ক্লাস অফ করে দিতে হবে, ক্লাস ওদেরই লস হবে, ক্লাস যদি আমি অফ করে দিই ওদেরই লস হবে ন্যাচারালি।
কিন্তু বেশিরভাগ স্টুডেন্ট তো অ্যাটেন্টিভ, তারা তো তাদের তো দোষ নেই।
আমি মার্চ মাস থেকে আজকে ক্লাস চালাচ্ছি, দিস ইজ বিফোর লাস্ট ক্লাস বিইজিসি 132। আমার এক্সপেরিয়েন্সে এরকম কোনোদিনও হয়নি যেটা আজকে হলো। এখন যেহেতু এর ডিটেলস আমি পাচ্ছি না, এর এনরোলমেন্ট নাম্বার বা ডিটেলস আমি পাচ্ছি না, আমি রিজিওনাল সেন্টারকেও কোনো রিপোর্ট করতে পারছি না।
না, নামটা দিয়ে করে দেওয়া যাবে না, বা এটা স্ক্রিনশট তুলে নিয়ে যে এই ছেলেটি এরকম
নামটা দিয়ে তো আমি পাবো না, কারণটা হচ্ছে যে আমি তো এর ইন ডিটেলস কিছু জানি না, যেটা আরসি থেকে করে কি ওদের কাছে ডিটেলসটা থাকে ওরা পাঠায়, আর ন্যাচারালি যে এর যে স্টাডি সেন্টার বা এর ডিটেলস, এটা ওরা ওদের ওখান থেকে যদি খুঁজে পায় তো পাবে, কিন্তু আমার এখান থেকে তো কিছুই আমি পাচ্ছি না।
না, কিন্তু এটা তো একটা সাইবার ক্রাইম করছে ছেলেটি।
এক্স্যাক্টলি,
সেন্টার দরকার হলে সাইবার ক্রাইমে রিপোর্ট করে দাও, বা তুমি একে
আমি রিজিওনাল সেন্টারের সাথে কথা বলছি, আমি
হ্যাঁ
দেখছি।
হ্যাঁ, আমার মনে হয় খারাপ লোক, খারাপ
হ্যাঁ, একটু কথা আছে, বলো। বলছি যে ম্যাডাম, এই যে কোশ্চেন কি রকম আসতে পারে?
হ্যাঁ বলছি, অসীম স্যারের সঙ্গে কথাটা অসীম, তাহলে কি
না ম্যাডাম, ঠিক আছে, আপনি কন্টিনিউ করুন। আমি
আমি জানি, বলছি আমি
ম্যাম আওয়াজ ক্লিয়ার আসছে না ম্যাম।
হ্যাঁ, তারা অনেকের মাইক খোলা আছে তো ওই জন্য আওয়াজ আসছে না। আমি জানি না যে এটা পরে পাওয়া যাবে না কিনা, কিন্তু এইটা স্ক্রিনশটটা তুলে রাখলে বোধহয় ভালো হতো, তাহলে আমরা রিপোর্টটা করতে পারতাম আর কি, যে এরকম খারাপ কাজ কেউ করছে। ঠিক আছে।
হ্যাঁ ম্যাডাম, একটা কাজ করুন আপনি, তাহলে আপনি চ্যাট বক্সটাকে অন করুন। অন করে ওই যে পোর্শনটা আপনি তো ওখানে নিশ্চয়ই পাচ্ছেন, আপনি যে ওটাকে আপনি জাস্ট ওটাকে আপনি ওই আপনি কি ল্যাপটপে করছেন?
ল্যাপটপে করছি।
আপনি তাহলে ওখান থেকে ওই প্রিন্ট স্ক্রিনের বাটনটাকে, প্রিন্ট স্ক্রিনটাকে প্রেস করে ওটাকে আপনি স্ক্রিনশটটা নিয়ে রেখে দিন, পরে আমি আপনার সাথে কথা বলে নিচ্ছি আপনার ক্লাস।
না, বলছি আমি মোবাইলে স্ক্রিনশটটা নিয়ে রাখবো।
আপনি মোবাইলে নিয়ে রাখলেও হবে, মোবাইলে নিয়ে রেখে দিন, মোবাইলে নিয়ে রাখলেও হবে।
মোবাইলে নিয়ে রাখছি, এক মিনিট।
মোবাইলে নিয়ে রাখুন।
একটু স্টুডেন্টরা একটু অপেক্ষা করো। একটু ধৈর্য ধরো। এটা ইট শুড বি রিপোর্টেড। এটা এরকম একটা খারাপ কাজ করবে কেউ, আর আমরা সেটা অ্যালাউ করবো, সেটা হবে না, হওয়া উচিত।
প্রবলেম হয়ে যায়।
I would request everyone to keep their mics and presentation off during the class. Okay, who is actually presenting right now?
আচ্ছা অসীম,
হ্যাঁ বলুন।
চ্যাটটা খুলেছি, কিন্তু এটা ওইটা কোথায় সেটা আমি খুঁজে পাই।
স্ক্রল করুন, স্ক্রল করলে পেয়ে যাবেন, এটা স্ক্রল করুন।
ও হ্যাঁ, আসানসোল, হ্যাঁ
স্ক্রল করুন, স্ক্রল করলে পেয়ে ব্যাস।
হ্যাঁ, এক মিনিট, আমি ছবিটা তুলে
ওই রকম তাহলেই হবে
ছবিটা।
আমাদের মুশকিলটা হয়েছে, আমরা টেকনোলজিকে যদি ব্যাড ইউজ করি, অ্যাবিউজ করি, তাহলে আলটিমেটলি লস হবে স্টুডেন্টদের। কারণ
আমি এত বছর দুটো কলেজের প্রিন্সিপালগিরি করে এলাম, এইরকম অসভ্যতার সম্মুখীন আমি হইনি।
ম্যাডাম, আমি তো বললাম প্যান্ডেমিক সিচুয়েশনে এট ফার্স্ট মানে আমি নোডাল কাউন্সেলিং চালাচ্ছি, তো এইভাবে আমাকেও এরকম সিচুয়েশন কোনোদিনও ফেস করতে হয়নি।
না, কাউন্সিলিংটা আমার মনে হয় চালানো উচিত, কিন্তু এইটাকে স্টপ করার রাস্তা থাকবে।
না, কাউন্সেলিং কন্টিনিউ হবে।
আচ্ছা, আমি স্ক্রিনশট তুলে রেখেছি। হ্যাঁ
ম্যাডাম, হ্যাঁ আমি আপনার সাথে পরে কথা বলবো।
ঠিক আছে, তারপর সন্ধ্যাবেলায় কথা বলবো।
ওকে ম্যাডাম, আপনি।
হ্যালো ম্যাম।
হ্যাঁ বলো।
বলছি যে হচ্ছে আমাদের যে এক্সামটা ডিসেম্বরে হবে না?
এগুলো আমি বলতে
প্রত্যেকে মাইক্রোফোন মিউট করো, আমি বলে দিচ্ছি।
ওই যে বলছেন স্যার, বলছেন শুনুন।
ডিসেম্বর টার্ম এন্ডে কোনো নোটিফিকেশন এখনো হয়নি হেডকোয়ার্টার থেকে। নোটিফিকেশন যতক্ষণ না আসছে ডিসেম্বর টার্ম এন্ডের পরীক্ষার ব্যাপারে কিছু বলা যাবে না, নাম্বার 1। নাম্বার 2, সেপ্টেম্বরে অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট সাবমিশন, সেটারও কোনো নোটিফিকেশন হয়নি। इग्नू हेडक्वार्टर जब तक नोटिफिकेशन नहीं करेंगे तो सबमिशन नहीं होगा असाइनमेंट, दिसंबर टार्मेंट के लिए फॉर्म फिलअप नहीं होगा, एग्जाम भी शायद नहीं होगा दिसंबर में। नोटिफिकेशन होने के बाद सब कुछ पता चलेगा। एम आई क्लियर? अगर किसी को दिसंबर में असाइनमेंट सबमिट करना है तो अपने आप असाइनमेंट प्रिपेयर करो। प्रिपेयर करो असाइनमेंट, जब नोटिफिकेशन मिल जाएगा उधर से जैसे जैसे नोटिफिकेशन आएगा कि ऑनलाइन में देना है, ऑफलाइन में देना है।
सर मेरे पास एक क्वेश्चन है।
लास्ट डेट।
हेलो
निवेदिता, लेट मी फिनिश, पहले मेरा बात सुनो निवेदिता। तो जब नोटिफिकेशन आ जाएगा, लेकिन मैं अनऑफिशियल निवेदिता प्लीज म्यूट योर माइक्रोफोन, लिसन मी। तो नोटिफिकेशन होने का बाद ही सबको पता चलेगा। असाइनमेंट सबमिट करना है तो असाइनमेंट पहले तैयार करो, तैयार करके अपने पास रख दो। यही है लेटेस्ट अपडेट। अब बोलो निवेदिता।
सर 30 सितंबर का मैसेज आया था कि असाइनमेंट सबमिट करना है।
गुरुदेव, मैंने बता दिया कि सितंबर का महीने में जो असाइनमेंट सबमिट होना था वो अभी तक नहीं होगा क्योंकि नोटिफिकेशन नहीं हुआ। शायद सोचो आज 22 चल रहा है, कल नोटिफिकेशन हो गया तो 30 सितंबर लास्ट डेट कभी नहीं होगा। एटलीस्ट 1 मंथ तुमको टाइम मिलेगा, एटलीस्ट 1 मंथ।
सर मेरे पास असाइनमेंट नहीं है कि मैं क्या असाइनमेंट बनाऊं, क्योंकि मेरा जिसमें असाइनमेंट आएगा वो साइट है।
मैंने तो पहले ही बता दिया कि असाइनमेंट अभी तक सबमिट नहीं होगा। बहुत सारा असाइनमेंट अपडेट नहीं हुआ साइट पर। तो
लिखना क्या है वो नहीं।
कौन सा स्टडी सेंटर तुम्हारा? स्टडी सेंटर कौन सा है तुम्हारा?
मैं दुर्गापुर का है, वुमेन्स कॉलेज
2 मैं सबके लिए बात बोल रहा हूँ। आज 22 है, 29 तुम्हारा लास्ट क्लास है। 29 BEGC 132 28 9th लास्ट क्लास। लास्ट 15 मिनट्स पूरा के पूरा क्लियर कर दूंगा। आज तो क्लास होने दो, 29 पे मैं पूरा कर दूंगा। एनी क्वेरी मैं फुलफिल कर दूंगा। ओके मैडम, आप
And sir, what about the study
मैंने
material?
बता दिया, अब कुछ नहीं बात करूंगा। स्टडी मटेरियल्स तुमको ई बुक से लेना है डाउनलोड करके। अभी क्लास तो होना दो मैडम, अभी क्लास करो।
ठीक है। ओके स्टूडेंट।
Ma'am, I have something to say. This is Salman
Please.
here. So, a word of caution to everyone who are actually doing the classes in BEGC 132 right now. See, we already have a WhatsApp group. Somebody has actually turned the mic. Yeah. So, during
Salman, there is some problem. Please, others who are
please turn everyone.
Anindita, please. Yes.
I do not want anyone to speak right now. This is really serious.
What?
So while we have a WhatsApp group, see, we also have other WhatsApp groups. Okay, so it's a request to everyone. See, today this is something that has happened. This is very serious. So please do not share the link outside of the BEGC 132 group. Since other groups have pan-India students, we do not know the authenticity of that. So please do not send it to other groups. If you have an again the mic has been turned on. So
Yes, I just wanted to ask that could you please share the number with me because I don't have it.
Okay.
WhatsApp
Can you
number.
just
That
let
is
me
what I was going to. Yes, sure.
Please let me complete because it actually echoes when I'm actually speaking. So when the link is being shared, please do not share into the common groups of WhatsApp. If there is some main groups which are actually related to study related inquiries and queries only, there only you should share. Since we have different regional centers, I don't think so that while you are sharing it into public WhatsApp groups, it is actually there is no authenticity who is joining and who is not joining. There are many groups which have innumerable students and there is no control at all. Okay, and I do not want to talk about this every now and then with the class because every teacher would be actually getting more and more fed up with these things. So I'm not discussing it anyway. if you really want to send it only in information related groups. No pan India related groups which are just for inquiry based. If there are no teachers in a particular group, no link should be shared. This is ekdam clear. This should be clear with everyone. If you are sharing the link, I am not there, but I will make sure that that group shouldn't be actually keeping that link in the first and forward by anywhere. Okay, this is very clear with that. There are various RCs. If they want, they can do it from the regional center itself. They can copy it, right? Since this call is being recorded, please maintain some decorum with it. We are all the same here. We do not want to insult anyone. We have some gratitude, and since we are learning something, we need to give respect to everyone, right? Yes, go ahead with the questions, please, so that ma'am can continue with it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Tell your question.
Yes, ma'am. Like, she's my sister, so she is not just fully okay. So I just wanted to know that whatever you are giving the notes and whatever you are giving, will she read that only? Because she cannot mug up the answers properly. She is a little bit suffering from autism.
What's your point? You want everything written?
No, not written. I will be there for her help. I just wanted to ask that whatever you are teaching, that will only she study?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. That is what I was going to ask. Thank you.
I am teaching only those programs which are exam.
Okay.
If you see the starting, there are so many which are not useful for exam.
Okay.
Therefore, I am giving the page number, point number, and giving the
Okay, ma'am.
If you just follow classes, I don't think any difficulty appearing in okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So let us start with the question. One question on this poem, that is write the substance of the poem and critical appreciation. We were discussing about the critical appreciation when all these problems come. I don't know why all these problems are happening. I'm quite old, not accustomed with all these things, but I think this is an academic platform. And one thing, Salman Karim was saying all these things. I don't think that you should share the link with others. I am sharing the link for you in the group, and individual RCs will send the link, isn't it? What is the necessity of your sending a link to the other students? I think in that way the problem may come. Next is block 3, unit 2. There is another poem I have said you that we will read. It is in page number 23. We have completed the poem FM Sindhu's poem Habit. Next poem, second poem, the only poem in this block which you have to read is another poem in page number 23 by N.T. Rajakumar. N.T. Rajakumar, and point number 2.4. Have you got the text? Please open your mic and tell me whether you have got it or not.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So, Rajkumar, N.T. Rajakumar, is one of the more popular Dalit poets and has been published in both mainstream Tamil literary publications as well as Dalit publications. So the previous poem that you have read is written by a non-Dalit writer in Marathi, not in English, and it was later translated by somebody else. This poem, which has no title, is written by N.T. Rajakumar and was originally written in Tamil. So write down this point. Originally written in Tamil. And Rajakumar was comparatively more famous, and his poems were published in Dalit publication as well as non-Dalit publications. The poems of these are not needed very much, but I just want to read it so that you can have a conception about the writer also. The poems of N.T. Rajkumar are articulate. Articulate means something which expresses something. are voiciferous, which voices something, adjective. And Rajkumar's poems are articulate protests against the caste and class oppression that Dalit men and women have been experiencing for ages. His choice of subjects in the poems in which he details the ancient injustices done to Dalit women and draws connections to the present ways by his own admission, deliberate, personal, and ultimately political. N.T. Rajkumar has said he has advocated, expressed, revealed those oppressions, those sufferings, those injustices which has been going on from very traditional historical time on Dalit women and Dalit people, and he has made them express them with a political ambition, with an ambition to give them justice. Political means here in that way. He belongs to the Ganaya's caste of people traditionally associated with magic and exorcism within rural Tamil culture, and his earliest memories are of searching for house in the forest and walking behind his father, carrying the materials needed for ceremonies. N.T. Rajkumar's father was just a ordinary person who used to earn his livelihood by selling some herbs and leaves which will act as medicine to those poor illiterate people of the area. Now come to the poem itself. Dancing cobra eyes twists into the body, striking at a corner of the soul, asleep, sticking one's tongue out on those full moon nights, drunk with the saliva sucked from the dripping mouth, my poisonous poetry scattered like fragrant flowers. Frightened to smell them alone, you bring to your aid those soaring birds of prey, denying sleep this time, standing on the power of the god of anger. I tease the kites, ask them, are you well? You fly away, disappear in the distance like a dot. I cannot touch the shadow of your wing. I will be born again and again as a devil, a ghost, as Kali and Isaki, as the vengeful furies. I will terrorize you and follow you.
Ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, still someone is writing vulgar things in the chat box.
Why are you giving importance to that when ma'am is teaching?
Yes. Yes. No, close the chat box.
You just
the
listen,
groups are also being shared, and if somebody joins,
disrupted.
Close the chat box. Dancing Cobra Eyes. This poem is a sort of conversation, as if someone is speaking, I, and someone is calling someone you. And the poem opens with a beautiful imagery, not only beautiful, very forceful imagery. Please bring all your mind to the poem. Don't think about those useless things, useless and nasty things rather. Dancing cobra eyes twists into the body, striking at a corner of the soul. The poem, which has no title, starts its line with a beautiful, forceful imagery with a cobra. Cobra is the most poisonous snake. Dancing cobra, you can imagine the picture in which the cobra, along with its fang, fauna, along with its fang, is dancing. Fauna duliye she nache. Dancing cobra, it is dancing, and it is eyeing. Eye is a verb. Dancing cobra, eyes. His eyes, to eye means to notice something. That cobra which is moving its fangs, Hanaduliache, his eyes is sharply looking, sharply watching at a thing which is going to attack. Akdrishte, when the cobra is looking with a fixed glance and it is moving its fangs, F-A-N-G-S, fang mane hoche fana. then it is quite careful and attentive and almost ready to attack someone. This is the first image in the first line. Then twists is the snake is very angry, full of rage, full of anger. Therefore, it is twisting. There is movement in his body when we become very angry, but we cannot express ourselves. As I feel now for that student or for someone who is writing all these things. Twists in your body, you are feeling anger, you are almost trembling with anger, but you cannot express your anger. Striking at a corner of the soul asleep. He is there. Twists in the body, striking at a corner of the soul asleep. He is striking. The snake is striking, but not physically, but mentally, at the corner of his soul. He is so angry. He cannot vent his anger. He could have been successful in venting his anger if he could have beaten someone, if he could have attacked someone. So in his mind, in the corner of his soul, he is striking himself. Asleep. He is sleeping there. But even though he seems to be in a dormant position, he is raging with anger. He is trembling with terrible anger. Against whom? Against the persons who are throughout the ages, centuries have been giving them only torture, exploitation, and suffering. This cobra is no one but the downtrodden. This cobra is no one but those Dalits, those untouchables, whom through centuries and centuries we have exploited. Through centuries they have done works without wages, bonded labors. You know perhaps the stories of laborers who were not given any wage, but they were bound to do work in the field of the landlords. So the poet is using a very beautiful, forceful, successful imagery, a picture of a cobra who is very much angry, therefore is trembling with anger, and as if mentally he is attacking himself. That cobra symbolizes the downtrodden, the untouchables, the Dalits. Sticking one's tongue out on those full moon nights, and he is bringing its tongue out. The snake has brought out its tongue. You know, when it is ready to attack, it used to bring out its tongue and take it again into the mouth. Brings out it and take it. There is another scientific explanation. Often we think that why the snake is bringing out its tongue. Do you know what is the scientific reason? Any one of you? Any one of you, do you know that why a snake brings out its tongue? You don't know about it.
Ma'am, it has sensory glands on the tongue so that he can smell.
It wants to touch the limb where the particular person is there. It can feel there. There are other glands also just above his eyes. Through those glands and through his tongue, he measures the length of the person, length of the area which is vacant before him, after which there is some person or some danger or something. So immediately he brings it out and puts it into his mouth. Sticking one's tongue out on those full moon nights. Full moon night is a night which is full of romanticism, which otherwise people who are rich, who are well fed can enjoy. But a downtrodden, a Dalit, who is symbolizing through the dancing cobra, he cannot feel any romantic feeling. He is bringing out his tongue. He is angry. He is ready to attack. Drunk with the saliva, sucked from the dripping mouth, my poisonous poetry scattered like fragrant flowers. The poet in this paragraph, in this stanza, is comparing his poem like a flower. My poetry is like a fragrant flower, but that fragrant is full of poison. The poison has come from the saliva dropping down the mouth of the snake, dropping down from the mouth of the untouchables. The terrible sufferings which the Dalits are suffering, as if they are ruminating over them. They are ruminating like the cows. Cows used to ruminate, jabor kate. As if the Dalits are ruminating about their sufferings, and saliva is coming out of that. Saliva means, the liquid substance which comes out of our mouth when you're too much busy or when you do something. Here means the poisonous outflow of the snake. Drunk with the saliva, sucked from the dripping mouth, from the mouth of that snake. That snake imagery is continuing. Dripping mouth, from his mouth, drops of poison are coming, and they are being sucked. Who is sucking? The petals of the flower of my poetry. My poetry has drunk the poison of those poisonous elements of the snake which is coming down of its mouth. And they are scattered like fragrant flowers, and they will be emerging, spread throughout the world, like the petals of the flowers. So therefore, in this imagery, the poet is comparing his poem as an instrument through which he will spread out the messages seeking justice for the downtrodden. His messages will be spread through the lines of his poems. The lines of his poems are like the petals of the flowers. The petals of the flowers are covered, are nurtured by the poison of the snake. The snake who is no one but the downtrodden. Is it clear up to fragrant flowers? Is
Ma'am,
it clear?
I couldn't follow, ma'am.
Which one? Which line you could not follow?
Ma'am, like the second the second stanza.
Second.
Yes, please explain that the snake is poisonous and the petals you explained, please, that one where you explain the petals part.
We shall repeat. Drunk with saliva, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, load shedding is going on here, and my mobile battery is also exhausted. Please allow me to leave from the start.
But your sound is not very audible. What is the problem?
Load shedding is going on here, and my mobile battery is also exhausted. Please allow me to leave, ma'am.
Okay, beta.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. Drunk with the saliva, sucked from the dripping mouth, drunk with the saliva. Then the first stanza, we have got the imagery of a poisonous snake, which is at a corner of a room, apparently asleep, but very much trembling, and also suffering from a rage, from an anger. And though it is full moon night, it is not enjoying its beauty. Drunk with the saliva. Now the subject is at the end of this paragraph. Who is drunk with the saliva? The fragrant flowers. My fragrant flowers, drunk with the saliva. The snake who is eagerly waiting to bite someone, to attack someone, and saliva, as because its mouth is open, poisonous saliva is coming out of it, and they are being sucked from the dripping mouth. That poisonous element, the poisonous liquid is dropping from its mouth, and it is coming to the earth, and it is being sucked, it is being drunk, it is being taken by my poisonous poetry. Who is drinking that poison from the snake? My poetry, my feelings, my expressions. I, the poet Rajkumar, is feeling the poison of the Dalits' suffering, who were unable to express themselves, the terrible suffering that they had to go through. They are suffering from anger, and that because of that suffering, the drops of poison is coming, and my poetry is sucking them and becoming rich, becoming nurtured. My poisonous poetry, it will be scattered like fragrant flowers. That poisonous poetry is like a flower, and that flower which is being rich, my experiences of the sufferings of downtrodden of Dalits had made my poetry rich, and my poetry is like a flower, and it will be scattered like the petals. When there is only one flower, you cannot scatter it. The flower, when you can put up all its petals, it will run and spread throughout the world. So the lines of my poetry are like the petals of the flowers. So my poems, like the fragrant flowers, will be scattered throughout the earth. Is it clear now? Please open
Yes,
your
ma'am.
eyes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Next, come to the frightened to smell them. Now there was full stop after flowers. Now in this paragraph, from here he is speaking about someone, not about his poem or not about the Dalits. Frightened to smell them alone. You here are the upper caste people. You here are the heads of the society. You here are the privileged class of the society who have been enjoying privileges at the cost of the untouchables, at the cost of the downtrodden people. Frightened to smell them. To smell them. Them means whom? My flowers. You will be frightened. You are afraid to smell them alone. You are afraid to read my poems because you know that you will be attacked with that poison. If they are flower, you are unwilling to smell them because you are frightened that what may happen to you. You bring to your aid those soaring birds of prey. The soaring birds of prey. That means eagle or kite. Birds of prey. Which are the birds of prey? Eagle or kite. Teal, eagle.
Ma'am, all the scavengers, no?
Yes?
All the scavengers that fly.
No. Not all the scavengers. But eagles and kites are the birds of prey who used to attack and eat snakes. You have got the idea? Snakes. If snake symbolizes the Dalits, then untouchables forces, the people who are of the higher class, the people of have class, the people with money and power, they have their own birds of prey. They have their own eagles and kites, which will kill the snake. Have you got the idea, the suggestion? Frightened to smell them alone. You are afraid to smell the flowers being created by me. And being afraid to help you in your aid, to help yourself, you are bringing those birds of prey. The birds of prey means eagles and kites. Write down. Write down. Birds of prey are not crow, but eagles and kites, which used to soar high and high, upward and upward. They used to soar, but a crow cannot. A kite or a eagle can soar up. Soar kara mane oporer dike otha. S-O-A-R, verb. Those soaring birds of prey, they are the birds of prey. They used to come down to the earth, snatches their own food. It might be a bird, it might be a small cattle, it might be a small puppy, or it might be a snake. Usually these birds of prey like eagle and kite snatches it from the earth and soars upward and goes somewhere on some tree or somewhere and eats it, the victim. So ironically, having a weapon of banter, Bidrup korche Kobi, he says that you higher ups, you are afraid to smell the flower created by me, and being afraid you are bringing in your aid. Whom you are bringing to help you? The birds of prey. The birds like eagles and kites. আমি না ক্লাস নিচ্ছি পরে কথা বলবো হ্যাঁ birds of prey. So symbolically it means that the higher ups have in their hands law, the higher up has in their hands police, the higher up has in their hands custom. These are their birds of prey. These are their agents, forces through by which they have been suppressing, exploiting the downtrodden. Is it clear up to this, up to prey? So I can go to next line, or is it not clear? Beta, please open your mic and one.
Ma'am, last two sentences that you told, please repeat once again.
Last two sentences. First two sentences, you, last two sentences. You bring to your aid those soaring birds of prey. You. Who are the you? You are the upper class. You are the exploiters. You are the people who throughout centuries have been exploiting the Dalits, untouchables, downtroddens. You have seen that how by creating Dalit literature, by creating a beautiful flower by me, with the help of the poison of the snake, we are revolting. We are expressing our sorrow. We are bringing your injustice to the light of the world. So you are afraid. And to continue with your exploitation, you are bringing to your aid, to help you with your way of exploitation. You are bringing to your aid those soaring birds of prey. You are bringing the birds of prey like kites and eagles to help you, so that you can kill the snake. You know that an eagle or a kite can come and will attack a snake and kill it. So if Dalit poetry is like a snake, you are trying to kill it, to suppress it with your own power, your own aid. Here symbolically, birds of prey means, is it so that they will bring some kite and bird? No. Higher ups are always trying to suppress them by the police, by the power, administrative capacity, by the custom. They will say, oh, it is the custom that you cannot touch the water. Untouchables will remain away from us. So these are the birds of prey for him. Is it clear or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Now is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. May I go to
Yes,
next
ma'am.
slide? Denying
Yes, ma'am.
Shiva. Denying Shiva this time. This whole of the line we will read. Denying Shiva this time. Standing on the power of the god of anger, I tease the kites. Ask them, are you well? You fly away. Disappear in the distance like a dot. Denying Shiva this time, standing on the power of the god of anger, all of us, we know that god of anger is Shiva. We know that how Lord Shiva had danced with the dead body of Parvati in the house of Dukho, and how Parvati's body was cut off into 51 parts, otherwise he could not be stopped. Lord Shiva could not be stopped. Denying this, Shiva this time, standing on the power of the god of anger, I tease the kites. I am teasing the kites. Kites are in your hand. You are using the kites. You, the upper caste people. I have the tenacity. I have the courage. I like to tease the kites. I'm ready to tease your kites. I am challenging your kites. I am challenging your powers. And thereby, I am trying to emulate Shiva. I am not giving full credential to Shiva. Revolting. You know the story of Shiva? Parvati married Shiva. Shiva was not a prince. Shiva did not belong to higher caste. Therefore, Dukho could not accept their marriage. And when Parvati went to his father's house, she was severely insulted due to her husband. And when it came to Shiva's ears, he was very much angry, and he went to Dukho's house, and there was Dukho Jokho and all these things. So there also, Shiva was denied proper status. This time, the poet says, I will even deny Shiva. I will not give the credential to Shiva. I myself am ready to challenge your kites. I am challenging you. Ask them, are you well? I am asking them, the kites, are you well? Are you quite okay? You fly away, disappear in the distance like a dog. But you, the upper caste, you are so afraid of that you are flying away. Your kites are flying away. You are disappearing in the distance like a dog. You disappear, run away, run away, run away. You go away from me in such a distance that you no longer look like a man, you look like a dog. So poet is here challenging the upper caste people, that we will no longer tolerate your exploitation. Now I am ready to challenge your force, your kites. Your kites are your agencies by which you are tormenting us. I tease those kites. I am challenging those kites. And when I am challenging, you are flying away, you are running away. You are disappearing in such a quick way that you turn into a dot so that I cannot touch you. Okay, clear is it? Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Okay, thank you. Last paragraph. I cannot touch the shadow of your wing, but unfortunately, I have gone to attack you. I have tried to tease your kite, but your kite has run away along with you in such a distance that I cannot touch you. I cannot touch the shadow of your wing. You know that how kites used to hover, used to fly in a much, much higher place. We cannot touch them. But the moment they want to snatch some food from your hand, they will come down quickly, take the food from your hand and will fly away immediately. So I, as a supporter of the Dalits, as a Dalit myself, I cannot touch the shadow of your wing. I cannot touch your wing. Not even your wing, not even the shadow of your wing, because you have moved away so quickly from me. But I'll be born. Don't think that within this life I am completing my struggle. I'll be born again and again as a devil, as a ghost, as a Kali, as a Isaki, as the vengeful furies. I will terrorize you and follow you. I will terrorize you, last line. I will terrorize you. This is the motto. This is the main idea. That I will not give up. Even if I am not successful this time to kill you, to attack you because you have gone away so quickly from me, the bird, that I have not been able to touch your shadow even. But I will not leave you. I will continue to terrorize you, to make you afraid of me, and follow you even to the paradise. I will follow you wherever you will go. Now come to the third para again, last para. I cannot touch the shadow of your wing. Is it? It is true. Okay. And then the poet is giving reference to different types of gods of Hindu religion, of Dalit religion, of the supernatural beliefs and the mysterious existence of supernatural beings. He says, I'll be born again and again. I'm not giving up my pursuit of killing you. I'm not giving up of defeating you. If not in this life I can do anything, I will be born again and again as a devil, a ghost, as Kali and Isaki. Isaki is a Dalit goddess. It was said that Isaki was seduced by a young man. Isaki had a large amount of gold and she was terribly beautiful, very beautiful, and she was a young girl, attracting the attention of so many young men. But one of them was actually not in love with Isaki, but in love with Isaki's gold. Seduced her means somehow convinced her that he loves her, but actually he did not love her. It is called seduce. Seduced her and took her to an open land. And then, after enjoying her, he killed her. When he was killing Isaki, there was no one in the field, only the cactus. It was a desert area, there was full of cactus. And Isaki, while dying, said the cactus that you are the only witness who saw what has happened to me. So be full of poison. Your body will become full of poison and whoever will touch you will die. That is called Isaki. And Isaki was later on worshipped as a goddess. So the poet says that again and again I will come, either as a devil or as a ghost whom you will not be able to see, or as Kali, who is symbolically the goddess of destruction, or as Isaki, who is full of poison. As the vengeful furies, I will come as the vengeful angels. Furies means supernatural beings. Vengeful furies, I will come as angels, as heavenly creatures, having no physical body, but only revenge. A vengeful means full of revenge. As a vengeful furies, I will terrorize you. I will make you afraid. I will continue to make you afraid throughout your life and even after your death. Okay, is it clear? So this poem, please write down the question, give the summary and the critical appreciation of the poem within 200 words. Give the summary and the critical appreciation of the poem within 200 words. Please, if you send your answer through email, then you'll take the picture, try to have the full picture. Sometimes something becomes cropped up and it becomes a bit difficult for me to find out what is the word, or to send you again to please send me a mail. It is better you are better you know it better than me. So please send it in that way. So the question is, next question, the question from this poem is that summary, write down the substance of the poem along with a critical appreciation. We will write down the critical appreciation as we have discussed in the previous poem. What are the images, symbols, what what is the attitude of the poem, how he is saying that he will terrorize you, how he is comparing his poem with a flower, all these things. That also he is bringing the elements from Hindu religion as well as from supernatural world like ghosts, devil, furies, and also something from Dalit culture, Dalit conventions, etc. So this unit is complete, and now I will go to the next unit, block 3, next unit, that is unit 3, literature of the Northeast. So we have already completed Dalit literature. Dalit literature, actually through this literature we are reading minority literature. The mainstream literature is different, like Bengali literature or Hindi literature or Tamil literature. These are mainstream literature. Dalit literature is a different category. Similarly, there is particular kind of literature that is called literature of the Northeast. Literature of the Northeast. It is in block 3, unit 3. The page numbers which we have to read is in page 30 to 33. The text you have to read is from page 30 to 33. Page 30 to 33. Now, I will go to the text, but before that, I'll give you a few points, and then I will read the text, and then after finishing the text, if I can read time, I will give you some notes that will help you in writing your answers. So, come to 3.2, page number 30. From 30, we will read 3. This excerpts from Introduction to the Oxford Anthology. Anthology means collection of poem or collection of short story. Anthology means collection of some writings. Anthology of writings from the Northeast India by Tilottama Mishra. This we have to read it. Before reading, I'll give a few points so that it will be easy for you to read it. First of all, can you tell me what do we mean by Northeast when we say Northeast? What do we mean by Northeast?
Ma'am, 8 sister states.
Now, what are the states? I'm not asking you from, I don't ask you to reply from the text, but give me your reply from your common sense. Have you seen in
like
the news?
Manipur?
Yeah. Have you seen
Manipur,
in some
Mizoram,
Assam.
Manipur, Mizoram, Assam. Now, if you see, I don't know whether you have seen it or not. A few months back, there was repeated reports in newspaper that northeastern students in Delhi are being attacked. Students belonging to northeast places are being attacked. Women, means girl students, are being sexually molested, and it happened in Delhi, and particularly in Sarojini Nagar, where many of the students from Northeast came there for studying medicine or MBA or something. Some of the students died also, 3 or 4. Then there are severe protests by Northeast, by the people from Northeast. Actually, I don't know whether you will agree with me or not. We have some reservation in our mind. For example, I don't know whether all of you are Bengali or not. Bengalis sometimes suffer from a sense of superiority. And this is about the persons belonging to Bihar. They are Biharis. They are Biharis. Person belonging to Darjeeling or China. I myself, I am in a Bengali household, though I am not actually originally fully Bengali. I am Chanda Shukla Hajra. But majority of my part is Bengali. I used to take fees and other things. But I have seen it. People, otherwise, on the other hand, people from Delhi or other states may have a snobbish attitude about Bengali. They are bongs. Similarly, about the Northeast people, we have some people have some reservation. They are not properly evaluated. About the Northeast, we don't have a clear idea what is Northeast. Northeast actually means a number of states. It was actually 7 states, but later on Sikkim was added into it and it became 8 states, which are as a whole called Northeast, Northeastern states. We have very limited amount of knowledge about the Northeastern states, their culture, about their heritage, that how much rich they are. So in order to focus them, here is a study on Northeast literature. Please write down. Northeast literature, the states of Northeast are 8 states. Northeast states are 8 states. 8 states are called Northeast states. Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, 8 states, put a dash after it. Assam, just capital A and SS, comma. Arunachal Pradesh, ARP. Make abbreviation or it will not be able to complete, comma. Mizoram, comma. Nagaland, NAG, comma. Manipur, Meghalaya, comma. Tripura, Sikkim, dash. Sikkim was last included. Sikkim was last included. Full stop. Next point.
Ma'am, one more repeat, please.
Assam, comma, please use abbreviation, not whole of Assam, ASS, comma. Arunachal Pradesh, ARP, comma. Mizoram, MIZ, comma. Nagaland, NAG, Manipur, comma. Meghalaya, comma. Tripura, comma. Sikkim. After Sikkim, put a dash. Sikkim was last included. Sikkim was last included. It was not formally included. Actually, from the very beginning, Assam, Tripura, and Arunachal were a part of the same culture. Were considered, were ruled by the same ruler and were considered to have almost same language, same customs. Later on, all these things developed. Mizoram, Nagaland, they were mostly initially tribal populated, and tribes have their own culture. Slowly, they are coming closer to these main states. Okay, may I go to next point? Next point. Culturally, comma, linguistically, and geographically. Culturally, linguistically, and geographically. This area is different from this area is different, this region is different from mainland India. From mainland India, full stop. Mainland India means rest of India, North India, South India, Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, Punjab, Kashmir, all the mainland. Next point. To most of the Indians, The literature of Northeast, most of the Indians, the literature of the Northeast is less explored, EXPLORED. We have not read much about Assamese literature, about Arunachal's literature, Mizo literature, Nagaland literature, but they have their own literature, but we don't know about it. Not many of it has been translated. Only Sahitya Academy has translated a few. Full stop, next point. Out of ignorance, we often homogenize. Homogenize spelling HOMOGENISE. Homogenize means within bracket write down to consider to be one. To consider to be one. Homogenize means to consider to be one. Bracket close. Out of ignorance, we often homogenize all the 8 states. We often homogenize all the 8 states to be single one. All the 8 states to be single one. To be A or to be single one. Full stop. Next. But each state has its own unique identity. But each state has its own unique identity, comma. Ethnicity. Spelling ETHNICITY. Ethnicity, comma. History and culture. History and culture. Full stop. Next one. The common factor among the people. The common factor among the people. The common factor among the people of all these THESE, the common factor among the people of all these 8 states, is the influence of same things, same things, SAME, same things. That means in course of time, some things happen to all these 8 states which are similar in nature. What are they? Dash. Hinduism, comma. Colonialism, Hinduism, comma. Colonialism, COLONIALISM. Colonialism, comma. Western education and culture. Western education and culture, comma. Christianity. Western education, culture, and Christianity. Full stop. Now, what is the point here? The point is here that Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura, initially the 3 were ruled by the Ahom kings. And later on, Mizoram, Nagaland, Manipur, Meghalaya, who were mainly populated by the tribals. But they came under the influence of all these things, Hinduism, colonialism, etc., etc. And when the British came, they started to preach Christianity and also Western education. and also Western culture. And these things reached Assam, Nagaland, and the farthest province of Sikkim. And all these states therefore became bound all these things by these influences. And they made one in one sense. They are unified in that sense that they have gone through all these different influences. Full stop, last point. I think this last point. All the above things influence the literature of all these 8 states. All these influences, all these things influenced the literature of all these 8 states. All these 8 states, commonly called Northeast India. Commonly called Northeast India. So you have got the idea?
Yes, ma'am.
So these are introduction, and now I will go to the text. I will quickly read the text. Wherever it is necessary, I will analyze it, and whenever it is not necessary, I will skip. And after the completion of the text, if there is time, I will give you notes. And if there is no time, then we'll go to the next class. That means the next Tuesday's class. Now please come to the text. 3.2 Excerpts from Introduction to the Oxford Anthology of Writings from the Northeast India by Tilottama Mishra. Tilottama Mishra was a writer who took her birth in Shillong and was educated initially in Calcutta. Most of the people of Assam, Tripura, Agartala, they used to come to Calcutta at that time because there was no such infrastructure at that time during independence or after independence or before independence. Most of the people used to come to Calcutta. Tilottama got her BA degree in English literature in Calcutta University, and from there she went to Delhi University, got her education, her PhD, and then went back to her state in Shillong, Meghalaya, and there she spent it. This is her writing. An intense sense of awareness of the cultural loss and recovery that came with the negotiation with the other cultures is a recurrent feature of the literature of the 7 northeastern states. Remember it. Here she is saying about 7 northeastern states. Sikkim was not that at that time included into India. Sikkim was later included into India. I don't know whether you know it or not. And India got freedom. Sikkim was not inside it. Sikkim was a free, different country. As it is now, you know, Bhutan is. Bhutan is a different country. Bhutan is not included in India. But Sikkim was, at that time, under the kingship of one particular king. When India got freedom, Sikkim was a separate. And after freedom, Sikkim expressed his idea, its desire to be united with India, because India is a strong, a large country, and Sikkim is between China and India, and between two great countries. It is feeling uneasy, and it became united with India after so many discussions and so many agreements and other things. So it is an 8th state. Otherwise, other states were already there. So there is something common, Tilottama says, about these northeastern states. When she wrote it, it was 7, now it is 8. What is that common thing? An intense sense of awareness. All the people of the states, all these 8 states, they were strongly aware of a cultural loss. Now try to remember, Arunachal was mainly populated by the tribes. They have their own tradition, folk, lore tradition, folk literature. They did not know how to write. They have their own script, but that was not very developed. And when they came in touch with English culture, Indian culture, their culture was gradually losing. They slowly became aware of the cultural loss and recovery. They are losing their culture slowly and recovering in another way. They are coming close to the English culture, English literature, and Indian literature, and came with the negotiation with the other cultures. In course of time, they came in touch with Indian English cultures, and it is a recurrent feature of the literatures of the 7 northeastern states. So among the 8 northeastern states, it is very common that they feel a cultural loss and recovery because they have come in contact with different cultures. Is it clear? Each small community or linguistic group means a group which is different from the point of language. Linguistic means from the point of language. Each small community or linguistic group has responded through its oral or written communication to the encounters with the majoritarian culture from either mainland India or from outside the borders of the country in its own distinctive manner. Each linguistic group. Now, this piece is a bit difficult. How do you feel now? Is it an ordinary course? It is about language and linguistic. So just read it. I'll give you notes on the points, and after reading the points, then you will read it again and it will become more clear. Each small community or linguistic group means the people of Arunachal, people of Nagaland, Meghalaya, each group has its own oral or written tradition. And when they came in contact with the mainland culture, majoritarian culture means culture of the country which is followed by majority of the people. They are Indian culture, or from either mainland India or from outside the borders. When they are coming in contact with Indian culture, Chinese culture, English culture, in its own distinctive manner, they are reacting in their own manner. The main waves of cultural invasions that have wrought significant changes in the literary world of the region originated in the Bhakti movement. Now, whenever there is any invasion, whenever there is some cultural influence, a change naturally comes. For example, have you noticed it? Why it had happened? Because of mass viewing of Hindi television, Hindi movie, Hindi serial. I'm not saying that it is something bad or something good. It is natural, it happens. In a similar manner, a large amount of English word had already entered into Bengali. Not only entered, they had already Benglicized. They had taken the form of Bengali. I've said you chop. Chop is an English word. Chair is an English word. We know it. But we use it in a Bengali sense. There are so many thousands of words. So whenever there is a cultural invasion, a big culture comes, to invade means to attack, akraman kara. As you have read it in Bhakti movement, Mughals invaded India. So main waves of cultural invasion that have wrought means worked, W-O-R-K-E-D. The main waves of cultural invasion that have wrought significant changes in the literary world of the region originated in the Bhakti movement. The author says the main wave of cultural change came in all the states of Assam, Tripura, ityadi, when Bhakti movement came here. You have read about Bhakti movement? It originated from North India and South India, one from North and one from South, and then they went to Assam and everywhere. Assam, they became Shakto, they became Vaishnava. followed by various reformist dispensation of the 19th century. And after Bhakti movement, there were various reformist exercises like education, Shoti Daho closer, Vidhava Vivaho Chalu, all these reformist dispensation, whatever came in 19th century, they came here and changed them. Colonialism, British colonialism, and Christian missionary activities that accompanies it, and the new culture of development that has become a part of the global culture. And the last of all, the wave of global culture in which we are now. Even mainland India is now being invaded by the global culture. I don't know whether you can realize it or not. We are being invaded by the global culture. The culture of America, the culture of England, the culture of France, through internet, through website, through TV serial, they are coming and we are adopting them. Some are doing good to us, some are doing bad to us. But these are different waves. Each of these encounters resulted in different forms of resistance. Now, when those northeastern states they came in touch with those invasions, different influences, they first resisted. They first tried to stop it. You know, when first computer was introduced to India, there were several protestations by a particular political party that no, computers will not be used because when computers will come, thousands of people will lose their job. But now, see, a computer came into India with the hands of Rajiv Gandhi. He was educated in England and he saw there and he introduced when he became minister, etc. etc. I'm not saying this all as a Congress person. Don't think in that way. No politics here. So now it has been completely changed. I'm trying to say that always cultural waves comes here. Sometimes we want to stop it, resist it. When education came to India during the time of Ishwar Chandra and others, many of the women were deprived of education with the saying that no, if you get educated, you will be widow. If women take education, their husbands will die. They will lose all fertility. All these things were told. So first of all, they have resistance as well as appropriations. First, they have resisted it and they have later on appropriated. To appropriate is a verb. To appropriate means to make something one's own. To appropriate is a verb. appropriate. To appropriate means to make something one's own. For example, any Western culture, first it was resisted. No, women should not be educated. Women should not do it. Women should not do it. And then after some years, we have appropriated it. We have adopted it. The class of culture has often led to the loss of traditional forms and the adoption of new cultural icons that threaten the existing ones. The clash of cultures, when a new culture is coming, suppose in Arunachal Pradesh there is a particular culture going on from prehistoric time. A new culture came from India, mainland culture. There is a clash of culture, and it led to the loss of traditional forms. When the majority of the people saw that the new culture which has come is good one, is acceptable one, then they thought that their traditional culture should be stopped, should be abandoned, should be given up, and they adopted the new culture. Loss of cultural forms and the adoption of new cultural icons. Icon means representative figure, icon. Write down the meaning of the word icon. Icon means representative figure, but you can use it in this way. Amitabh Bachchan is an icon of Hindi film. Amitabh Bachchan is an icon of Hindi film. Whenever you will get a new word, write down the meaning of the word and also try to make use of it in a sentence. Icon. Icon means a representative figure. Vidyasagar was an icon of scholarship. So, a new cultural icons that threaten the existing ones. So, when a new wave comes, when a new culture comes, it happens that first there is resistance and then acceptance. People, when they saw that new culture is better, they accept it and they become accustomed with new cultural icons, the new cultural representatives. They accept it in place of existing one, and the old ones they give it up. Well, there have been attempts at reviewing and critiquing one's own society and culture in the light of the new ideas that have invaded the region from time to time. Yet whenever the xenophobic fear of the outsider has seized a community, a tendency to retreat into the cocoon of cultural isolation has been quite evident. Are you feeling interested? Do you like the way I'm teaching?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you not feeling bored?
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am, not yet.
Are you not feeling bored?
Not yet, ma'am.
Not yet. I have been teaching for long. How many years? 40 years. I have started teaching from 1979. 79, I have got taught college teaching. Before that, I had taught in school. I like teaching, but sometimes it seems to be that whether the students are getting bored. So when I was in a college teaching, sometimes I used to tell the students some comic stories, small stories, so that they get some relief and again come back to the boring topic. Xenophobic, isn't it? Xenophobic, new word. Xenophobic and cocoon. Cocoon is a very known thing. Cocoon. Have you seen?
Yes, ma'am. Where silk is made from it.
Yeah. Cocoon. Silk is made from it. I don't know whether everybody. Some sort of
Yellow color. It is yellow color. Cylindrical shape.
not cream.
Yes, cream.
Why reverberation in my? What is the problem? Can you tell me? I can stop it. In my mic, there is a double sound is coming when I am telling something.
Ma'am, when two people speak at the same time, this vibration will come. There is a signal. That's a signal transference. That's why it's happening like that.
Who is talking it? Who is talking?
Ma'am, this is Salman here.
Yeah, thank you, Salman. You know many things about all these computers and other things. But I have to learn from you. Cocoon. So cocoon is a type of a thing which the silkworms used to make. It is a type of their own house, a closed shell, 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 in which they used to stay, and they used to create the silk thread that is called cocoon. Xenophobic is a fear, phobia. It comes from the word phobia. You know, phobia means fear. Xenophobic means fear of the other people, fear of the people of the other country or other religion, fear of the people of other country, other religion, xenophobia. You know, in our country recently we have started a xenophobia. We are becoming intolerant to a particular kind of people, a particular religion, and always attaching some things to it. It is a sort of fear, xenophobia it is called. So while there have been attempts at reviewing and critiquing, people have always tried to review and criticize. Critiquing means criticize one's own society and culture in the light of the new ideas. When a new idea, new culture is coming, we have a tendency to criticize, to review our culture, our idea with the new coming ideas that have invaded the region from time to time. Yet, whenever the xenophobic fear of the outsider has seized a community, and at the same time a sort of fear works in our mind that the new culture, the outside culture, that is coming will finish us, will make us removed, will obliterate us from this area. A tendency to retreat comes in our mind into the cocoon of our cultural isolation. And as it invades us, we become more accustomed to our own culture, own practice, own things, which are not at all useful, which are not at all logically viable. But being afraid of other culture, we used to stick to it. In Assam, Manipur, Tripura, this process of cultural intermixing began long before the advent of colonialism. Now, in these three states, as I have already said, that these three states are united in one sense. Before the coming of Christianity, there has been always the process of cultural mixing between these three states, Assam, Manipur, and Tripura. Those three states are Vaishnava states. Shaiva, Shakta, and Vaishnava, forms of Hinduism together with Buddhism and Islam spread their distinctive influences in the region. In all these three states, Shaiva religion, Shakta religion, and Vaishnava religion, along with main Hinduism and Islam and Buddhism, whatever there was in India, in mainland India, went there and influenced them. While the Thai Ahom, who entered Assam from east and ruled the country for almost 600 years till the advent of the British in 1826, made immense contribution, immense meaning enough, towards the creation of a syncretic culture in the region. Syncretic, new word. Syncretic and immense, I think you know. Now, British came to India in 1826. Before that, for 600 years, that means from 1226, 1200 সাল থেকে, Assam, Tripura, Manipur were governed by a particular type of people who were not Indians, but who came from the eastern side, that means from Brahmodesh, which in ancient was called Shamdesh. Their name was Thai Ahom. They dominated. They created Assam. Assam came from Ahom. A particular people who were known as Thai Ahom, who entered Assam from east. And they came here on 1200, and for 600 years they ruled the area. Tarpore British Railo. They made an immense contribution because they themselves are not Indian. They were neither Assamese, nor Manipuri, nor Tripurians, but they have dominated the area for a long time. They created a syncretic culture. Write down the meaning. Syncretic culture. Syncretic means consisting of different cultures. Consisting of different cultures. That is called syncretic culture in the region. It is significant that the literature of the pre-colonial period in all these three kingdoms was deeply rooted in the wonderfully mixed cultural life of their respective societies. So, before the British had come there, before the coming of the English people, before colonialism, Assam, Manipur, Tripura were united, and there was already the existence of different cultures and different religions and different societies. Different societies were observing different type of religion, different type of custom, but there was no class. Colonialism, however, superimposed a Eurocentric concept of modernity derived from the Enlightenment on the literature of the region, thereby creating a rupture between the past and the present. Up until here, today we will complete up to present. Mark out up to present. From next day, we'll start from the next sentence, the Christian missionaries. Before finishing, let me clear this idea. Keep this idea very clear in your mind. The author says, before the coming of British, before the coming of any other force, modern education, Christianity, provinces of Assam, Manipur, Tripura had already a mixture of cultures. And they were peacefully living with each other, speaking each other's language, and there was mixture of language. But colonialism in 1826 came there and they superimposed. Superimpose means to impose something from outside. বাইরে থেকে কিছু চাপিয়ে দেওয়া। Colonialism, however, superimpose, উপর থেকে চাপিয়ে দেওয়া হলো। কি চাপিয়ে দেওয়া হলো তাদের উপরে? তার মানে আসাম, মণিপুর, ত্রিপুরা এরা internally bound ছিল, তাদের মধ্যে কোনো ক্লাস ছিল না। Even if there was Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism, they have also invaded there. কিন্তু তারা এখন এসে মিশে গেছিল। কিন্তু ওপর থেকে এলো European civilization, colonialism. They superimposed a Eurocentric concept of modernity. And when the British came, they imposed an idea and concept of modernity. তাদের মতে modernity কি? Which is Eurocentric, which is centered on Europe. Whatever is European is modern. Whatever is Indian, ancient. They considered it, English people. And they imposed it on us, including Tripura, Assam. Eurocentric concept of modernity derived from the Enlightenment on the literature of the region. Enlightenment means enlightenment of 19th century, which happened in England, thereby creating a rupture. Rupture means hatol, gap, thereby creating a rupture between the past and the present. So there was in the past a story of mixing, conglomeration, mixture of, no clash. But all of a sudden English came and they superimposed that all those things are old, backdated. Whatever is Christian, European, whatever is English, whatever is Enlightenment is modern, and thereby started a gap between the past and the present. So is it clear up to this portion?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you were saying that.
Yes.
Ma'am, like you were saying Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, and one more state that had same culture and same ruler. What was that state, ma'am?
Tripura. Assam, Tripura, and Arunachal Pradesh.
Okay,
And
thank
they
you.
have later on they were different kingdoms. Tripura had another kingdom. You know, you have read the story of Bisorjon by Rabindranath Tagore, where there was killing of goats, ছাগল বলি দেওয়া হতো, যেটা বন্ধ করা হয়েছিল। Manipur was also dominated by a separate king. Rabindranath Tagore went there. Manipur is very famous for its dance, and many of the dances which were later on Rabindra Sangeet dance came from Manipuri school of dancing. Manipur, Assam, and Tripura later on was dominated by three different rulers. So we are now finishing page number 31, first line. Next sentence we shall start it. We'll be meeting on the next Tuesday. I don't know whether next Tuesday will be our last class or not. If it is our last class, then we will be trying to finish the whole of the syllabus somehow. Okay?
Ma'am, one more question, ma'am.
Yes, beta.
Ma'am, that untitled poem by N.T. Rajkumar is is the untitled poem a name or is it untitled in real sense?
It is untitled in the real sense.
Okay, thank you.
He has not given any title. Okay? Okay? So I'm finishing.
Yes, ma'am.
Have a nice day. Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Uta.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, beta.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, bye.
Bye,
Bye,
ma'am.
Indranee. Bye. Anindita, Tanushree,
Bye, ma'am.
Surmila. Bye. Tutosh, Salman. Okay.
ম্যাম আপনি কি ওই হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপে আছেন? ইন্দ্রাণী আর ইউ দেয়ার?
হ্যাঁ বলো।
বলছি তুমি আসানসোলে থাকো?
হ্যাঁ আমি আসানসোল আমার স্টাডি সেন্টার।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা। আচ্ছা তুমি আগের ক্লাসগুলো করেছো গো?
হ্যাঁ করেছি।
আচ্ছা আমি তো আজকে ওকে নিয়ে ফার্স্ট বসালাম, তো তোমাকে নাম্বারটা কি করে শেয়ার করবো তোমার সঙ্গে?
ওটাই তো।
হুম। তো আমার ওই ওটা ওকে নিয়ে তো আজকে পড়তে বসলাম, আমার কিছুই আইডিয়া নেই কি কি হয়েছে আগের ক্লাসে না ক্লাসে। আমি আজকে যেগুলো লিখেছি ওগুলো তোমাকে দিয়ে দিতে পারি যদি চাও, আর আগের গুলো
হ্যাঁ
তোমার সঙ্গে
ওগুলো তো আমার চাই।
ভালো হতো।
তুমি
কি
আমাকে
করে
মেলের নাম্বারটা দিয়ে দেবে?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, তোমার মেল আইডিটা বলো। ভেরি গুড আইডি।
আচ্ছা ইন্দ্রাণী। আচ্ছা এক সেকেন্ড দাঁড়াও আমি বলছি। দেখো
হ্যাঁ বলো।
ইন্দ্রাণী সান্যাল।
INDRANI তো?
হ্যাঁ আমার দেখো আমার নামটা স্পেলিং দেওয়া আছে।
হ্যাঁ গ্যাপ আছে নাকি মধ্যেখানে?
না না কোনো গ্যাপ নেই।
ঠিক আছে বলো।
64
হুম
@
হুম gmail.com।
gmail.com।
ঠিক ঠিক আছে। আবার কালকে ক্লাস আছে নাকি 11টায়?
না না আমার নেক্সট উইকডে।
আচ্ছা না, আর অন্য তোমার কি কি সাবজেক্ট আছে?
আমার তো হিস্ট্রি পেপার আছে 3টে, ইভিএস আছে আর ইংলিশের 4টে আছে।
ঠিক আছে। আমার এর আছে ইংলিশের 4টে, পল সায়েন্স আছে ওর, আর ইভিএসটা তো আছে।
এক কাজ করো তুমি আমাকে মেলে আমাকে
পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি, দিয়ে কথা বলে নিচ্ছি। ঠিক।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ ওখানে আমার নাম্বারটা নিয়ে নিও, দিয়ে আমাকে মেসেজ করে দিও।
ঠিক 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 আছে। থ্যাংক ইউ।
হ্যাঁ ওয়েলকাম।
টাটা।
টাটা।